to play table
Hi
tennis,
guys, welcome back. You're watching the second part of my Judy Higgs interview. Appreciate you guys coming back. If you're watching for the first time, then link to the first part will be in the description. But this is my first and only table tennis coach, so hope you enjoy our last few questions. Cheers, bye-bye.
Exactly. And I loved your answer to people when they said, well, how many league players have you produced? And you said, well, they've just got a bat in the hand and they're playing the sport, that we love and enjoy. And I mean, I think that's still a probably prejudiced sort of view that people have now. If, you've got a new person coming to a social club and you've got an established league player or committee member and they're always asking, oh, sign on to this place, do this, do that, pressure straight away, which isn't really needed. I mean, if you look back at your success now, you've got two lads, and Alex Kearney used to still play table tennis as well. But Phil Smith playing in the same team now used to come along to your Culver Hay nights. So I'd say overall, people playing table tennis 15, 20 years on from that night is a pretty good success, really.
Yeah. I mean, we knew that probably 50% just came along. Some of them came along because it was cheap childcare, and the parents just brought them. But even those that came on that basis, sort of once they saw what was going on, thought, oh, I'll have a go at this, let's see what we can do with this sort of thing. And it was always balanced between making it a proper coaching environment, although it wasn't serious coaching, but also making it fun and not being too strict with the rules and making people feel that, if they stepped out of line, somebody would sort of drag them back in, but we weren't going to banish them to the corner and say you can't play anymore and all this sort of stuff. So it was always trying to be very positive about, what they did and how they did it, and to think up lots of different games and challenges and all sorts of things, to just keep the interest. But as I said, the disappointing point was that I could never see, or I could see very few of those players going into the league because of the way the league was run. And I was pushing at that point to have a junior league, and nobody else was interested. So they said, oh, we haven't got anywhere to put it. And I said, well, I think if we really thought about it, we could find somewhere.
I got to ask you honestly now, because obviously you coached me when I was probably 8, 9, 10-year-old through to maybe 14 years old, I guess, when I stopped going. How was I as a kid? Did I listen? Was I well behaved? And could you see me actually progressing and going further, into the league? Be as honest or and brutal as you like.
No, I could see you carrying on with it and making, getting better, because you did concentrate. And there was obviously something there that interested you. I mean, like all kids, there was chaos sometimes in the room with, somebody messing about in the corner that needed sorting out. But, I always tried to get everybody to focus on the fact that they were there to play table tennis, and always mix it up a lot so that people didn't get bored. I mean, it's really hard, because if you're trying to show people, particularly juniors, how to serve, and you tell them hold the ball, drop it and hit it, you can only do that one-to-one. And so you have a queue of people who are standing there getting fed up because they're not doing it, and you're trying to show somebody and actually get them to do it. So there's a limit to how much you can do in that kind of formal coaching. And a lot of it was, showing them something, getting them to try it, and then putting them on the tables and going around and saying, no, this is what you need to do. You need to drop the ball, not bounce it on the table, not throw it onto the table, but just drop it and it will bounce up and you can hit it. And that kind of thing. And that takes time. And while you're doing that on one table, the other 5 tables are messing about, smashing balls around. But, we didn't have that many people there to help. It varied night to night, but, we had a limited number of people who were helping with the coaching. And so, we did what we could. And we always tried to make it fun. And we always used to have games at the end where everybody's running around. So everybody went away sort of saying, oh, yeah, that was fun. And that's, I think, particularly for young children, for junior age, school age, you just have to make it fun. You try to teach them some of the really basic things, like watch the ball. Because most people, when they start playing, they don't watch the ball. They're watching their bat, or they're watching the other end of the table, and they've got the ball here and they drop it and hit and don't even look at it.
Yeah.
And that was one of the key things that I was always trying to teach people, is to watch the ball all the time. And if you learn to do that without thinking about it, it makes the game a lot easier.
True. And I mean, you had some quite good players come out of that Culver Hay club. I mean, like I've touched on, me and Phil Smith are still playing now. I wouldn't say we're your biggest successes, but the likes of Alex Kearney, I'm sure there must be a few more. I can't remember.
Yeah, see, Alex used to come back because, I mean, by the time, he got really good, and he was playing sort of county level and, getting on really well. But he still used to come back and come up and knock with his dad, because his dad was really keen. So they used to come up and knock, and sometimes I'd give him a game. And I remember one time when he beat me down at Culver, I think it's the first time he beat me, because he used to hit these really bendy, top spin shots. And I just used to drop off the table and sort of toss them back up. And, he would try and hit them harder and harder. And when he was younger, they eventually go off the end of the table because he was just hitting them so hard. But when he got better, then he knew how to bend them sideways as well, and that left me in a difficult position because there's too much space.
Yeah.
But he was great. I mean, he was he had real potential. I don't know how far he went in the end. I know he went to the sort of county standard, but I don't know whether he went any further with it than that. He was very reliant on his dad to take him to tournaments and things when he was younger. I don't know whether he went on when he was older and went on and played. But so I liked him. I mean, he was a bit of a character. He could be quite difficult at times, but I sort of thought he's got potential, and if he can focus all his energy into playing table tennis, that's got to be good for him. And he has got real talent. He did have real talent. I mean, he was really good, but it was the mental side that he was not so strong at. He used to lose his rag, very quickly if he was getting beaten, and I don't know whether he ever sort of got that under control. Because when he did play and control his sort of mental side of the game, he was very good. But
I saw him again a couple of years ago at one of the Bath sort of closed tournaments, and I think he played in the top 20 event. But he hadn't played for a couple of years. So Alex, if you're watching, I know we're friends on LinkedIn, so drop me a line if you want to play some Division 1 table tennis. That'd be greatly appreciated. Help me team out a little bit and get all of the Culver Hay people back in one team then.
Yeah, why not?
Exactly. I'm just going to look at my notes real quick. We've gone quite in depth with a lot of these answers here. So I'm just going to ask you the two main difficult questions, if you like, of the whole talk, which is, you mentioned, you had a women's team, for Oldfield when you were playing, and you put together for quite a number of years. I mean, was there generally sort of a lot of women in the league back then? And, because there isn't hardly any.
No, hardly any. Again, I think I played in the league. When I had children, I had to stop playing because I had to be at home looking after them. So that unless I could get a day in the week when John wasn't playing, and then I could go and play and he would look after the children. But, as soon as you have children and a family, you have to step back. So I think that's one of the reasons. And also, I'm not sure it's terribly attractive to women, but probably because there aren't many women playing, and so they look at it as a man's game. And often when you go to practice, the men monopolise the tables, and you sort of sit there waiting for them to finish their, hour and a half's practice, and then you get 20 minutes on the table, and then some other bloke comes along and says, "Oh, I want to practice now." And you were very much treated as second-class citizens, in terms of table time. And also when you played, it was interesting the reaction you got from men when you played against them in the league, particularly men that weren't used to playing against women. And most of them started off with the attitude, "Oh, this is easy, I'm going to beat this person." And very often they did. But there was great satisfaction in beating them that had that attitude.
Yeah, there's a lot of similarities in what you said there with sort of Sue Ruse. I don't know whether you knew Sue for Key Centre, but when she gave her answer, she kind of said very similar that you did get people who didn't know how to play against a woman, at the other end of the table. And so, yeah, I mean, the Bath League have done women's only sessions, but, going back again to the answer you gave with the kids session, there's an element of, well, how many of those women have gone on to play league table tennis? And personally, I think as long as you've got more women playing the sport, organically and naturally, you're going to get a number. It doesn't have to be 50% of them, but you're going to get a number generally joining the league after a few years, aren't you?
Yeah. I think, I mean, I don't know because I'm not involved, but I think the profile of table tennis has probably gone down since I was playing. It's very rarely on television now. It used to be on television a little bit more, not massively, but it used to be on a bit more. And it came up, the generation before me used to play table tennis because it was, everybody went to youth club, of some sort, and that was the things on offer was snooker, table tennis, and I don't know, billiards or something. So everybody started playing in their youth, just messing around playing at youth club, and that was where all those league players came from, because the ones that enjoyed it then sort of thought, I could play this more seriously, and moved into. And a lot of the clubs that were in the league came out of youth clubs or were linked to youth clubs through church halls and various things. And so anybody that started playing at youth club, if they wanted to take it on further, they could join the club that played in their hall. So it was an easy route through to table tennis. And that's how an awful lot of people got into it.
Yeah, I'll do a little pop quiz with you right now then. This is completely okay? But you said about the profile of the sport going down. Obviously, back then you used to have people like Desmond Douglas on TV, etc., like you alluded to. But could you name me 3 of the top 5 men's English table tennis players at the minute?
I have no idea. I can't remember the last time I saw. I've seen some of this. There's a different kind of table tennis, isn't it, where they, and I've seen some of that and just sort of thought, oh, it's going back to the old hardback game almost. But I've not seen any, regular table tennis for years on the television. I mean, I'm sure it probably is on because there's so many channels now. There is probably more, on TV somewhere. But I wouldn't know where to look, and you never hear about it. But then I'm not really, associated with the table tennis league or anybody that played, so I don't hear the news.
Yeah, I just thought that'd be an interesting question to ask, and I think that's almost the perfect answer as to the publicity going down a little bit.
I mean, the best thing was the guy who was on Strictly. The disabled guy. He did a world of good for table tennis. Everybody was talking about table tennis after he was on, and that was brilliant. But it's all fizzled out again, or it seems to be.
What was good with that is that his personality shone through in the interviews and between the dances, and you could really tell the character of who was actually performing those dances and who was going on to represent ourselves in the Paralympic Games. So really good.
Yeah, that was brilliant. And he was just the right character to do it, and the right personality to do it, and to promote the game at the same time. I don't know how many people even thought about taking up table tennis after they sort of heard what he said about it or seen him, little clips of him playing. But every positive thing has got to be good. In the news headlines or in a celebrity show like that millions of people watch, was brilliant. But whether that inspired anybody to go and play table tennis, you don't know.
Well, yeah, that's exactly why I'm kind of doing all this content. I did it mainly during the lockdown, and now lockdown's easing. I want to continue getting these little stories and little snippets of information out there, because you never know who's going to watch a YouTube video or share it on social or retweet and all these other fancy terminologies that you can use now.
I think one of the biggest drawbacks with table tennis is that having to have the table space. You've got to have specific tables and you need a lot of space for it. And so unless you've got really big church halls or big sports centres that are prepared to offer table tennis on a regular basis, which not many do, then it's difficult to get people introduced to the sport. And it's the kind of thing that people do on a holiday, isn't it? It's like if they're in a holiday park there's usually a table tennis table there. There used to be, don't know if there are now, or a snooker table or whatever, and people just mess around. And then, with all those games, then they, if they enjoy it, they think, oh, I could do this a bit more, at home, or I can find somewhere where I can play snooker or table tennis or whatever. So I think that's the biggest drawback with table tennis.
Well, yeah, I think you've actually hit the nail on the head for the final question I was going to ask, which is why don't more 18 to 40-year-olds play table tennis locally? But I think you've kind of alluded to the youth club culture has disappeared in our society, and the venue space and the venue hire element of it.
Yeah, and there's other things. There's like, in a lot of families, there's husband and wife that both go to work, and so they want to be at home at the evening to spend time with their family or to just spend time together. And often people these days are working, even more so now, working from home, or working in the evenings on a computer. And so, they've got less time to go out and do something that they want to do. I don't know whether table tennis is that well publicised, whether anybody would know that there's a table tennis league that takes place, where people play. If you moved into the area and you're already a keen player, you would go and look for it. But I don't know how much publicity there is out generally that tells people there's table tennis being played in Bath, and if you want to, have a go, this is the place you go to.
Well, yeah, exactly. And that's kind of my role on the Bath committee at the moment. I don't think you knew this, but I'm sort of the press officer for the Bath and District Tennis League for the past couple of seasons now. And that's your first call. I think it was harder when you didn't have the internet, because you'd have to, like you say, go in the Yellow Pages or, the Bath Chronicle and actually look up a physical number. I think that would put people off if they had to do that nowadays. People are very introvert, very, happy online and happy typing away, on a keyboard. But when it comes to picking up a phone or going to a place, it's a different story. But that's why it's kind of getting all those social links, all the different bits of information collated in different places online. But very, very interesting.
That's good. Yeah. So are there new people coming into the game now?
Well, yeah, we've kind of, there's a few clubs that are kind of doing well for themselves in that respect. You've got out in Yatton Kennel, they've really put their village hall into sort of 3, maybe 4 tables in there, and they play a couple of times.
Yeah, I think I played out there once, a long time ago. Yeah, bit of a trek, that's it, to get.
Exactly. And then Bath Ford have brought on a few youngsters, a few teenagers.
I heard they'd done some good stuff. Yeah, and I think Key Centre were coaching youngsters, weren't they? Yeah,
that's what my Keynsham Table Tennis Club did. So when I noticed, which is similar to what you said about seeing where you can play socially, I set up purely a social club, and then within the 2-3 years that we've been going, we've actually got returning players back into the league. A bit older players, but also a couple of teenagers. So they had good results. Sort of 16-year-olds beating Nigel Woolley, for instance, who's very experienced, good player. We've been kind of doing things in reverse in Keynsham, which is good, and getting some, we had a brand new team in, so we've got 3 teams in the league now. But my mind is blown from what you said earlier about the Bath and district leagues having divisions. That's crazy to me.
Yeah. I think if people have a go and if they enjoy it, then they want to keep coming back, kind of thing. But so many people either don't know it's happening or don't know where to go to find it. To find a way in. And that was the same when I was coaching. You've got to put yourself out there a bit. With the youngsters, a lot of them we picked up through that coaching programme going around schools, and that created a lot of interest. And Mike Clare I don't know if he still does it, he used to do a lot at King Edward's. They had a group there that used to play, and he used to do something at Lark Hall as well, didn't he, in the school there. There were little pockets, but they never quite joined up enough to make a youth league, which is what would have been good. Because when I used to talk to Mike about it, he said, "Oh no," he said, "we'll have to have it here. The facilities are far, far better Culver Hay, we can have a lot more tables, we can have a lot more players. But he said, oh no, the kids won't come. They won't go across the town to play, which, probably was true.
Yeah.
Maybe until they got transport and they're independent, they might have taken it up later. But, it was difficult because there were, just these little pockets of things going on. But I have to say, by the time towards the end of my playing career, there were a few youngsters at Bath Ford as well. They were being coached by the senior players, which was good. So there were, again, little groups of youngsters. And at that time, I was sort of saying, we need to get a junior league running. We need to have a place where they all come together and they play once a week, once a fortnight, and they play on a league ladder kind of thing, so that they always are going up or going down, and they play 3 or 4 matches in an evening against different people. But I don't know how long ago that was, but that was a long time ago, and it just never happened because various reasons, I think. But it was just that Mike was quite protective of his little club in Larkhall, over that way. And he sort of said, oh no, they won't come over, they won't come over there to play table tennis, which, maybe they wouldn't, because if they haven't got transport or a parent to take them, or, it's not practical. But, that's sometimes the problem, is getting enough of them together, playing in one place, to realise that there's a lot of other people playing table tennis as well.
Well, yeah, there are a couple of bright sparks we've had in the last sort of year or so, especially on the Bath committee. A few different faces joining in and around us. And a chap called Paul Green. Hello, Paul, if you're watching. He actually got a schools tournament up together, kind of a bit last minute, a bit ad hoc, but it was a great success. Like Beach and Cliff, and King Edwards, all of those sort of schools playing each other in a sort of tournament. I think it's just before lockdown.
It was really good, because then they get to see that there are other kids that play table tennis, and it's an okay thing to do.
Yeah, and again, just before lockdown, we had the it must have been tail end of February, first week of March, maybe. You had the under 15s and under 18s Bath and district championship for the kids.
Oh yeah, well, that was good.
Thankfully, I submitted 3 kids from our Keynsham table tennis club, and because they're used to sort of playing adults on a Friday night, week in, week out. And as soon as I knew they were going to be entered into that competition, I sort of, took a bit more time to coach them a little bit. You said, you can't coach them all the time in a busy club night when you've got 30 people in the room. But, I made sure that they got the right knocks against the right people. Interestingly, we got down to the tournament and we saw everybody knocking up. All the under 15s was the competition we entered. And they all looked pretty good, to be fair. But then once they got on the table and the later rounds started to come on, we still had all 3 of them in there past the group stages. And then, as it got to the final, it was our 2 lads against each other. So we had the runner-up and the winner, the under 15s. And I think a lot of that comes down to giving them that freedom of playing adults week in, week out. Helps,
It's that experience, isn't it, of learning from other players. Working out how you beat somebody, not just knocking with your friend all the time, and exactly how they play and they know exactly how you play. It's when you go into tournaments, I think that's the challenge, isn't it? You play people that you've never met before, never played against. So, you suddenly have to work out what they're likely to do and what you're going to do to either stop them or what you're going to do to win the points off them. So, this is, it's why, in a way, table tennis can be such an attractive game, because a lot of it is mental, and you do need a fairly agile mind to sort of adapt within the game. And sometimes you can persist with what you're doing, but there are times when you just have to change and do something different because what you're trying to do is not working. So, I suppose it's true of things like tennis and badminton and that kind of thing. It's the same situation, isn't it? But
we had one lad in the under 18s competition as well, and that was a really big step up in challenge for him. He'd played league for our C team that season, but a couple of the kids in particular in their 18s were very, very strong. Very well for Bath, because I think the 2 players that were the winner and runner-up in the under 18s already played Premier table tennis in the Bath league. So You know, that's what kids can achieve if they keep going, really.
Yeah, that's a good example for them.
Exactly. And then to end tonight, really, I just wondered whether you had any. I mean, we've had a few questions already, but if you had any further sort of table tennis questions for me, really.
No, I don't know. I can't think of anything. As I say, I'm not really in touch with many people that play now. And John doesn't play, so we've kind of dropped out the table tennis scene, and we see people occasionally. Meet up with people, and I see Julie very occasionally. We're not involved in the sense we don't see people regularly from the league. So, I sometimes look for the results in the paper, and I think, whoever it is, they're still playing, are they? They must be nearly 90 by now.
Yeah, there's a few of them. Yeah.
Yeah. But they still enjoy it, don't they? And it keeps them fit, and it keeps them mentally agile as well. So I don't have a problem with that. Yeah,
it's good.
I think that's good. You just don't want a totally aging league. You need people coming in at the bottom all the time, don't you, to freshen it up and have new ideas and look at new ways of managing the game and new competitions and all this kind of thing. So it's a healthy league if you've got youngsters coming in.
Well, yeah, it took me I'd say a good 5 years to catch up on the 5 years that I'd missed from going off to university to actually get back to serious play. The first couple of years that I joined back when I was sort of 23, 24 years old, it was incredibly difficult. I was playing in a team, in the bottom league and like winning maybe one game for the whole season, and it was incredibly frustrating. But you got to have that mental mindset to keep going, haven't you? So.
Yeah, that's it. And the more you play, the better you get. So.
Yeah, and I'm a very awkward Div 1 player, so yeah.
Yeah. So you've done well then, Division 1. Yeah. How many divisions are there now? Because I don't see stuff about table tennis very often.
Yeah, so it's just the 3. So we got the Premier, Div 1 and Div 2. So yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, very small pool of players, But it's nice when you do
I was going to say.
Get promoted and relegated and what have you. You play different players all the time, so yeah.
Yeah, it's good because it freshens it up. I mean, there's nothing worse than being in the same division year after year and seeing the same odd faces come around and you think, oh, I've got to play them again. Yeah. And then somebody new comes along and you think, oh, this will be interesting. There's somebody I've not played before. And it's a new challenge and it's good.
Exactly. But no, thanks a lot for speaking to me tonight, Judy. I really appreciate you coming on and having a quick chat. It's been great.
No, you're more than welcome. Yeah. Well, good luck. I hope table tennis goes on growing.
Yeah. Brilliant. Right then, guys. So that's it for Table Tennis Chats number 7. Thank you very much for watching. I've been Mark as always. Judy, thanks a lot again. And we'll see you all very soon. Thank you. Cheers.